Welcome to this video case study with Natasha Angel of UK Sport. Natasha, you're very welcome. Really looking forward to having a chat with you about the development centres that you've designed.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Looking forward to having a good conversation with you and just sharing the project and the experience we've had and how you've supported that.
That's great. Tell me about your own journey first. So tell me a little bit about how you got to UK Sport.
Yeah, so I've always worked in sport, apart from a short stint in retail when I decided to up sticks and just travel around the world a little bit. So that got me by, but always worked in sport. Started working at a regional county FA football association, and then once I come back from my travels around the world, I joined the Royal Yachting Association, which is sailing. And then from there, stayed there for a couple of years, had a really fantastic time, loads of amazing experiences. And then I saw, as you do every now and then, you see what jobs are around. And I saw a very vague job description at UK Sport that just spiked my curiosity. So I applied for it, got the gig, and I've been with them just over 4 years now. And my roles, the whole team as well, has really evolved and changed in those 4 years, as we always look to be agile to like needs of the sports and the system. So yeah, quite brief there, but always worked in sport, got curious, ended up at UK Sport, and it's been an evolving whirlwind since.
So your role as learning and development coordinator then, what does that cover and who does it cover?
Yeah, so we work with coaches and leaders and teams within the sports that we fund and some that we don't fund as well, as we look to enable success on the world stage, mainly the Olympic and Paralympic Games. So we just work to deliver a learning and development offering that meets their current and maybe future needs as well. So that's across all sports that we work with. So it can be quite it is really varied and really broad in terms of the things that we offer. Some of them might be 1 to 2 year development programs on a specific topic for a specific role. It might be our annual conference where we get everybody together. That was online for the first time last year as well. I think we engaged over 800 people, which was amazing. Or it might be modules, workshops, or something like the Development Centre project, which was a shorter 6-week project, which I'm sure we'll get into in a minute. So that's what kind of my role covers, loads of really varied stuff. But essentially what we want to do is just support those working in world-class programs in sports to be better and develop and grow.
So that must make it quite interesting because you've got such a variety of activities and learning and development that you put on.
Yeah, and just the people we work with are so, well, they're first of all, they're amazing, absolutely amazing human beings. And just the sports they work in, their different contexts. I mean, everything's so different. They've got their own kind of little world in their sports. So to be able to connect them as well and connect people across different sports. Yeah, totally varied. The people we do and the things that we offer. I'm always looking to see what can we keep doing that we know works really well and sports really value and helps them, and actually what can we do that's different and try and innovate some stuff so that we're always world leading.
No wonder you were so excited when the Olympics were on.
I just think, wow,
Yeah,
makes me feel so ordinary, but I'm okay with that because I just think these people are incredible. And especially over the last 18 months, I'm like,
yeah.
how you still manage to perform under the circumstances we've been in.
Yes, yeah,
Just
yeah, absolutely.
extraordinary.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me more then, Tash, about the drivers for the development centres. How did that come about?
Yeah, so what we're always really keen to do is, whilst we can offer as UK Sport a learning and development offering, really keen that we help people just become better learners so they can drive their own learning forward as well. We don't always have to, we can definitely help and enable, but we don't have to do everything. And obviously their own sports tend to have some sort of offering as well. So what we're trying to do with development centres is just help people to better understand where they might be in their own career and development, where they might want to think about going next, and actually what are my strengths and what are my potential development areas that'll help me keep progressing. And we think if we can do that and enable people to do that more effectively by themselves as well, like get a bit of a gauge of where they're at and where they might want to go, and therefore what things do I need to do? Like, what's that development gap, and how do I fill it? If we can help people be better at that and just be better, more self-driven learners, then they've just got more freedom, more autonomy, and then we can layer stuff on top of that as well. So I'm not going to help them any less. We're just helping them a bit more sustainability, so they don't always need us or need their sports. They're well equipped within themselves.
Oh, great. So it's almost like for them to develop an awareness and a plan for their own development, would you say?
Exactly that. Yeah.
Ah, right. Yeah, yeah. So when you decided you were going to go down that route, how did you go about planning how you would build the development centres and run them?
Yeah, so we just got really clear on what our aims were. So our aims were definitely help them better understand their strengths, their development areas, and then maybe what next. And that might be career as well, what next in their career. So I think if we get really clear on why we're doing it and maybe what success would look like, that helps us go, okay, what's going to enable us to be able to do that and help them with that.
Mm.
Um, we've done quite a lot of work in what we would call like an experiential space. So role playing, real playing with actors, um, actually like just giving it a go and then
Mm.
getting some real-time feedback as well. So like that, and we've had really positive feedback from that. So we're like, okay, let's definitely include that, because actually if we've got a framework, which we've got our high performance leadership development framework. That's kind of our benchmark. Everything's grounded in that. So if we can find ways to observe, get people to view and rate against that, then we're getting loads of different data points. So we're getting as much as we can an holistic view of where people are currently at, to then inform the next bit about, okay, what's your strengths, what's your development, what's your next steps. We definitely want to include some of the experiential stuff. So that was in there. And they're like, okay, so if that's the core bit, what other bits go nicely around that to top and tail the journey as well? Yes, that's where 360s come in. We know they're such a powerful tool. Some people have regular feedback conversations anyway, but I
Right.
found 360s are just a great self-awareness piece, conversation starter,
Mm.
loads and loads of benefits to it. So it's like that kind of has to be in there. If we do that at the start as well, then we've got that data to refer to later on as well. And I guess the other end of the bookend is the latter bit about, okay, so once I've been through this experience, I've had I'm reflecting a bit, what do I do next? We then run what we call reflection action circles. So we get the peers to coach each other through, okay, this is the feedback I've got from the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
This is what's currently in my mind. This is what I'm reflecting on. How do I turn that insight into action?
Okay.
So we do that towards the end, just to get people to think about, okay, what are my actual next steps, that kind of
Yeah.
transfer piece, and actually getting people to that action and being really clear about what their next steps are. And we find having that commitment to action then helps with the next steps of actually doing it, rather than just saying I'm going to do it, I'm actually going
Yeah.
to do it. So I guess that's the three core pillars that stand. It's the observation, the scenario experiential stuff in the middle, and then we do some 360 stuff before that and finish it off with turn insight into action. There are core pillars. We've got some other bits that support the momentum of the journey throughout as well.
And that's great that you've got that buddying up as well to help people as they move past the actual development centre themselves. And that's great because you do need to keep a focus, don't you, on those goals that you set and all of that.
Yeah, which is really timely at the moment. So we had three cohorts go through it at the start of this year, 2021, and we're actually bringing them back together in a couple of weeks for an alumni gathering.
Right.
And what a lot of them want to do is reconnect and
Yeah.
let's talk about what we said we were going to do. How are we getting on? What's the successes? What's the challenges? And let's share that. And they want to hear that from each other as well. So
Yeah.
they're really keen to do that themselves. That's been a clear driver for them, which is great for us to hear as well. And we can
Yeah.
definitely facilitate that. And again, that helps to keep a bit of accountability, keep that commitment, and also share, well, this is what's going well for me, and get that connection within the cohorts as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That must be a great bit of feedback for you guys, having people being so enthusiastic and wanting to come back and talk
Yeah.
about what they've done and what they've been doing.
Yeah, it's been quite overwhelming in a way. We always said we'd
Oh,
do
really?
something. We said to them we'd do something, alumni gathering
Yeah.
in like 6 to 8 months' time, post the games, once you're all back, had a bit of a break, etc. But the uptake's just been crazy, more
Really?
than I kind of expected.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I've said, look, what would make the time most valuable for you, because it is for you. And everyone's come back and said, yeah, we want to check in on how we're doing. So yeah, it has been a good, I guess, a bit of a mark in the sand when we go, well, how's this landing? And actually people are so engaged and want to catch up and say, this is how I'm getting on. So yeah, it was really quite overwhelming, but lovely that everyone's
Yeah.
really, really keen to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. So tell me, you've told me about the pillars and the elements of the development centres. What, Tash, what was your biggest challenge?
Oh, biggest challenge. I'd don't know. I'm like, was there any challenges, or would you see them as opportunities and we overcome them?
Ah,
Something that's been, I guess, that has been an opportunity, but something that has been a little bit challenging is just so I guess the resource behind it for such a short journey as well, and that's the resource in terms of the support staff and the workforce that support the development centres.
yeah.
So for the observation day, each participant will have an observer
Mm,
one-on-one. So you get a dedicated observer, and
okay.
they've got all the data from before. So they've got all your 360 stuff, they've got your application form, they observe you with the actors, you have a bit of feedback, and then they do a debrief follow-up call with you and write up a observation report from you as well. And whilst we have all the workforce with all the skills and experiences to be able to do that really, really well, and participants say that is observers, the actors, and the 360s are the thing that get rated the highest in terms of impact. It's just a high resource, like one-to-one participant to observer is
Yeah.
really high, and we know the skills and people to do it, but
Mm,
again, it's just the time and the resource. So but everyone loves doing it. Everyone's like, yeah, I
yeah.
get to have great conversations with great people, helping them, like, definitely sign me up. But I guess that's just the resource that sits behind it. I think for the first one there was near on 40 people involved,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, in terms of workforce to get it off the ground and make it happen, and that was for 12 participants. I mean, that's fine because it's effective and it's great and it's doing what it
Yeah.
needs to. If you talk about general, like, L&D, return on investment, return on time, and expectations and energy, then it's quite high resource
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah.
But when we do the evaluation, we get feedback from the participants. It's just something we can't compromise on,
Yeah.
because it makes it so impactful having that one-on-one. We're always looking at how can we deliver it more effectively,
Mm,
but it's such a crucial part of it.
mm,
So I guess that's been a bit of a challenge, but just by giving people more heads up, expanding our observer pool, upskilling more people to be able to do it,
yeah.
is ways that we're looking to overcome it. But I think we might have been quite lucky, and that might have been about the biggest challenge we've faced, because the participants have just been great.
Mhm.
They've thrown themselves into it. They've been really keen to dedicate the time to themselves and then to help each other. The 360s and the work with you has just been absolutely seamless. You've all been fantastic and made it so easy for us. Um, so I think we've been quite fortunate in that sense, in that if workforce is your biggest challenge, but it's not a bad place to be, is it?
Well, that's true. That's true. Just while you were explaining that, I was thinking also about the 12 participants in each development centre. So were they self choosing? Did they apply from, you said, an application? So they actually applied to be on the program.
Yeah. So we said sometimes we do it where we go to sports and say, here's our L&D offering, and actually, can you nominate someone who you think's appropriate to attend? We
Right.
flipped it with this one and said, because we want the learners to be so self-directed and
Yeah.
self-driven, it's almost then kind of a principle that you have to nominate yourself to come on it.
Yeah.
Otherwise it feels like we're going against what the principles we're trying to
Mm,
put down.
mm,
So yeah, they all self-applied to come on it. They then had to have an application, supporting application from line manager or relevant other. That line manager doesn't really get involved at any of a
mm.
further part of the journey. It was someone who could back up that it would be the right thing for them at the right time, the right sort of
Very good.
development for them right now.
Yeah.
And then also just to keep that awareness back in sport.
Yeah.
So that say I'm a participant, if I go back to my sport and my line manager says, "Oh yeah, how was that development centre? What did you take away? Like, what are you implementing? What might I see?" It adds for a bit of
It
accountability maybe
does.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I guess the line manager can then support that person's ongoing, what they've taken from the development centre, and they know they can actually help them to make it happen.
Exactly that. And that person would
Yeah.
highly have likely had to fill in the 360 as well. So they're being engaged at various parts at the start of the journey. Not, I say, well, yeah, pretty explicitly and quite engineered, but then it just gives them that awareness. So as you say, they can continue on the journey, check in, and help support them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about, did you do everything online this time, Tash?
We did, yeah. We didn't really have any other option.
No.
And actually before COVID, we'd actually delivered one experiential session with an actor and a coach online.
Okay.
So we'd already dabbled in the space. So it's like, well, we've done it once before, we just need to upscale it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we've done it all virtually, and we had to work a bit. We done the first cohort was more of a pilot. So it's like, guys, we're going to try some stuff, but we want your constant feedback so we can iterate. And one thing that come through really loud and clear was that we had to dial up the connection piece. And like, we're not really getting as much connection from the cohort as we'd want. So we tried to engineer that a bit differently, send some stuff out before, so that when we were on Teams, we could spend more time chatting and hearing from each other. And also just a bit of I guess, a recheck in on this 6-week journey. You're probably not going to feel very connected with everybody because it's just 6 weeks. So sometimes it was rechecking ourselves that that's not our core purpose of this 6 weeks. But there are elements we could dial up. So yeah, we went fully virtual. The next cohort, we're going to do a blend. So moving more to that blended space. So what parts, well, now we've got at the moment the freedom to, but what parts are really going to be most effective face to face, and actually what parts are just really good online because no one has to go anywhere. Everyone's more accessible. If it's 2 hours, are we going to, because sports are everywhere across the country. So if it's 2-hour intro webinar, are we going to pull people together face to face? Probably not.
But probably get more benefit, as you say.
Yeah, but actually the stuff with the actors face to face, now most people in most sports are back operating face to face. It would almost feel less real if we then got them to do it over a screen. So it's like, well, to make that feel most real and most impactful, let's get them in a room with an actor, and you get all that body language, that tension, everything like that. So let's get back doing that. So yeah, future is the blend, but yeah, at the moment it's just been fully virtual delivery.
Yeah, very exciting. Very exciting journey. And I guess I think you've already talked about. I mean, I suppose really my last point was what's been the response of people to it. But you kind of covered that already, really, in that people have really bought into it and really see the benefit. What about UK Sport itself as an organisation? What's been the sort of response within UK Sport to the work that you guys are doing?
Yeah, it's been really positive. I mean, the fact we're now doing a series 2 and running 2 more cohorts. We wanted to do 3, but just time wouldn't allow. With the games as well, we want to give everyone that down time for them to come back and then be at right time for them. So the fact we're doing a series 2 is always good. I think it's just been an opportunity to engage a different audience and more people in a shorter space of time. We've historically run a lot of programs which are a couple of years in length, and you only then get 10 to 15 people on them, for example. And once you've missed that window, you've missed it. Whereas this was more regular. We were engaging more people and new people. So yeah, the fact we've got the license to go again and it's in the future plans, I think just speaks to the impact it's having. We're then internally the kind of data we're getting off the back of it about what are people's strengths, what are people's development areas, is a bit of a live feed for us then to go, actually, this is 30 people that have been through this, and this is kind of what their needs are. That can then help inform with other various data points what we might think about delivering from L&D as well. So it helps with that live feed needs analysis to go, okay, this is what kind of we're getting a sense of might be bubbling up for people and they need a bit of support with, and then how can we enable that?
Okay. Tash, that's great. Thank you so much. Fascinating to hear your journey through it and what you guys are doing. Sounds absolutely brilliant. Thank you, and thanks for your time. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.